Hello, I'm Al, and welcome to the instruction video for building the Alacrity Studio Dungeon Crawler Laser Cut Model Kit. Before we begin, you can find written instructions on alacritystudio.com/wagon instructions. So let's get to building. First off, all the parts come with a protective masking tape barrier, so you're going to need to remove that from both sides. The tolerances on these parts are quite tight, so some of them require this to move or they won't fit. So just peel that off both sides, throw it away. Also, I recommend popping out these parts from the cards as you build them, not all in advance. I've done that here for the ease of the video, but to pop them out, they should pop out very gently. Long pieces like this can be rocked back and forth and even sometimes spun around entirely and they'll come out. You can scrape away this little sprue line with your fingernail or a tool of some sort. And smaller parts can just be popped out by hand. Sometimes it helps to try both sides, a little bit one way, a little bit the other way, and they'll eventually wiggle out. If the sprue breaks, that's fine. I don't care about that too much. Also, this kit doesn't technically require glue, but it is strongly recommended. Wood glue works best, although PVA glue would work, and even non-toxic school glue would also work. Super glue isn't recommended because it can haze the parts and it would be very difficult to remove if it gets into the wrong spot. So first off, we are going to start with step one and assemble the axles. These axle pins just pop straight in. And with some parts, they are quite tight, so you might want to try them one way, and if it doesn't quite fit, try to flip them around. And yep. There we go. Fitting in. And sometimes it requires a little bit of rocking back and forth. These should be fully flush with the bottom of the axle. So let's put the other pins in. Great. Next, the axles go right onto the first floor. The design, the grid pattern is face up, and just press those in nice and flush. Again, you might need to press a little on one side, press a little on the other. All right, moving on. Next step is to put in the second story riser. Pardon me. Excuse me. There we go. This just clips on through the entirety of all these pegs right here. As with many of these parts, it takes a little wiggle. Some of them are fine and can be snapped off, so please be careful. And this goes all the way down to the very bottom. These tabs are going to be needed for the next steps. So make sure they're all free. And then the second part. There we go. And then this is where we decide which is the front of the wagon and which is the back. The front will be the side that has these two holes for the yoke. So these just slide right on. There we go, snaps right into place. Make sure the logo is facing outward. And laser cut parts can be a bit sooty around the cut edges. So one tip is that you can take just a paper towel even and wipe the cut edges. Ammonia-based glass cleaner also works well. You don't want to soak these parts. They will swell up if they're exposed to water. So then we're going to put the retractable yoke in. It goes right in these two holes right here. So put the front of the yoke, as delineated by this curved part, together. Just snap these right into place. Slide that in. There's a bit of pressure from the top holder, so it takes just a bit. There we go. And this is a decorative part. So we're going to then take the back clip of the yoke and just slide in. Glue is optional here, but the friction fit is firm enough to where it's not quite needed. There we go. Next up is one of my favorite parts, the brick of bottom panels that slide into these holes right here. They go straight across. So they're in one piece, so you just snap them off. And again, you can clean off that little break line, the tab line, just the fingernail or the metal scraper, something. And these just slide in one at a time. They are quite tight, so you might need to flip these around a little bit. Try one side, try the other. A lot of wiggling back and forth. But they do slide right in. Glue is also optional from these, but the fit is tight enough where they're not needed here. It can be a little bit difficult to get the opposite end, so just try to line it up as best you can and push a little bit. Oh, don't let it come out the other end. Perfect. They should be long enough to extend from edge to edge. You might need to push it together a little bit and then just repeat for the other barrel bottom slats. Perfect. Barrel bottom is in. Now we move on to the side panels. Important note, one of the side panels is going to have these 4 little squares in them. These are the axle hubs, the wheel hubs. So just pop those out, save these. These will be used when we put on the wheels. And you'll notice that all the windows are the same size except for one. The small window goes to the rear of the wagon. And you'll notice that these decorative ladders also have a smaller side, and that lines up with the smaller window. This is the only part that requires glue. So just put a nice bead of glue, a very thin bead of glue along the bottom of this, making sure that you have removed the paper cover. And let that glue dry, scrape it off with a toothpick or something similar, clean out any glue oozes. We will skip the glue for this instruction video, but it is recommended. The ladders add a nice little decorative shadow line to the wagon. You will take these pieces, these dinosaurs, and you will slide them onto the pegs of the sides. And that just slots right in to these holes right here. This is definitely recommended to glue both the feet of the dinosaur and the spines. Otherwise, they can fall off quite easily. So glue is another strongly recommended step there. The other side is going to do the same thing, making sure that the back has the smaller window cutout. The flared edges of the dinosaurs means that it's hard to pull them out this way, but they can fall out this way fairly easily. Like that. That's why glue is recommended. All right, perfect. Let's move on to the wheels. First, you have these hubcaps. This will be a tight fit. And you might need to try to rotate them 90 degrees on the axle if they don't work and try another axle. They should all fit though. Yep, just put them in. You may put a drop of glue inside the square hole on these axles. Definitely don't put any glue on the outside of the axle for reasons that are going to become apparent in a moment. Get back in there. This is why the dinosaurs went extinct. There we go. All right, wheel hubs, 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Now the wheels, make sure these hubs are flush against the axle flange. Then the wheel, the inside of the wheel rides against the outside of this hub. So definitely don't put glue there. And it should be a pretty good fit. There's nothing holding these wheels on at the moment. That is what the next step is for. This is where the square hubcaps come into play. Those just push on. Again, this will be a fairly tight fit. Should manage to do it. You might need to rotate the pieces 90 degrees or 90 degrees again. And if it doesn't work, you can always try another axle. In some cases, it can be helpful to put the wheels on one at a time. Wheel on the hubcap, wheel on the hubcap. Again, glue is strongly recommended for the sides and dinosaurs. Good. You want to go ahead and make sure there's just a little bit of space between the hubcap and the wheel so it can spin freely. All right. The wagon stays there as we assembled the last component, the top floor. Again, make sure the pattern is facing up. We're going to take these small little pins. They came in this sub-assembly right here, this card. And again, these are a very tight fit, so you can go ahead and put them in. You might need to rotate them. Make sure you have definitely removed the protective film from them. They should be square, so if they don't fit one way, just rotate them and put them in another. These parts are not going to be visible in the end. They're structural, so it's okay if they're not facing the same direction. Great, and then put these onto these holes right here of the second story to pin it into place. Glue is optional here, not a bad idea. There we go. Make sure the bottom is flush. The top should be flush as well, but the bottom is more important. Then we're going to move on to the side rail pillars. These should have a nice tight glue-free joint, although glue is definitely not a bad idea here. Just pop these in one at a time. There's no front and back to this, so whichever side can go forward that you desire. All right, now to the pillars, we attach the side rails. Note that these are decorative. They can go in whatever order and fashion you want. I recommend that the shortest one, note that they are all different lengths. I recommend the shortest one go on the bottom. Should just snap right in, although a dot of glue is never a bad idea. The slightly longer one goes in the middle, flares out a little bit at an angle. And the long one goes at the top, and this one will be at an even greater angle. Like that. Repeat for the other one. There's no registration marks on the pillars because the side rails can go at whatever height you want on the pillars. All right, now wheel your wagon on. Definitely don't put any glue here on these bottom sleds. This is supposed to be removable. Just set that on, and then you have a removable top for when you need to get into or out of combat. All right, there you go. The Alacrity Studio Dungeon Crawler Laser Cut Wagon Model Kit. I hope you've enjoyed this instruction video, and I hope you enjoy adventuring. And if you're wondering how a laser-cut wagon model kit stands up to the rigors of tabletop play, I used an old prototype of the model kit as a dolly to film this video.